It's Monday, the 27th of September 2021. Welcome to the Fear and Greed Business Headlines, where we give you the top 5 business stories you need to know in just 5 minutes. I'm Michael Thompson, and good morning, Sean Aylmer.
Morning, Michael.
All right, 5 stories, 5 minutes. Let's get going. Now, we often talk about the resources sector, how important it is to our economy, and in many ways it has helped us to manage the COVID crisis, at least economically, but it seems the market's gone south over the past few weeks. What's happened?
Well, Michael, fears about China slowing, a global shortage in the semiconductor chip market, restrictions on steel production in China, and a sudden dislike of gold has hit shareholders hard. Australian investors, even if it's through their super funds, tend to invest in financial service firms like the big banks and mining and exploration stocks. But the latter has just been a bad investment over the past couple of months. The iron ore miners have tumbled alongside the price of iron ore. The commodity is now trading at half the level of 4 months ago, and the big miners have gone for the ride. The gold stocks aren't performing very well either. Share prices have fallen much more than the price of the precious metal. Many gold mining stocks are trading at their lowest level since the start of the pandemic, and if you exclude the plunge around March last year, they're at multi-year lows. Now, we know energy companies can't find a friend, and even the battery metals groups are struggling. What's it all mean? Well, do you buy in the dips? Will the economic recovery gather speed and help the mining stocks? Has a recent boom come and gone? It's going to be a very interesting few months.
Yeah, sure will be. That's story number 1. On to story number 2. There were warnings galore last week from the Reserve Bank, from the Commonwealth Bank, from ANZ, even the International Monetary Fund, everyone warning about the housing market and the soaring prices. We're now well into the spring selling season. What were auction results like over the weekend?
They were really good. Clearly, no one was listening to the banks or the regulators. Sydney's property market posted its best clearance rate since April at 84.3%. The national rate was 82.4%, with a big jump in Melbourne, which had fallen behind in recent weeks. Now, part of that is because the ban on home inspections has been lifted. It recorded a 77.2 clearance rate, and that was the best since May, according to CoreLogic. It all came after the International Monetary Fund, which its goal in life is to ensure financial stability around the world. The IMF came out and said Australia needs to address the rising risks posed by higher house prices. It's too worried that people are getting themselves into too much debt. Reserve Bank said the same thing last week. Commonwealth Bank said the same thing last week. But as I mentioned, no one's listening. There's not a lot of stock on the market, so it is a good time to be selling, and that's helping clearance rates. But maybe people are getting in ahead of tightening of the rules as well, just maybe.
All right, that's story number 2. You mentioned there the IMF. They actually had a bit to say about Australia and about zombie companies as well.
Sure did. The IMF warned that there'd be a reckoning for zombie companies when the government support is withdrawn from the economy, and that could mean a spike in corporate insolvencies. Remember, we expected a big spike in insolvencies at the beginning of this year, and it just never happened. Government support kept going and helped these companies that otherwise would have gone bust. What the IMF is saying is that the day of reckoning is coming. It also called for tax reform, saying Australia needed to reduce income and corporate tax rates and lift the GST, that old chestnut.
All right, on to story number 4. Interesting one, this one. A big German group wants to buy up Australian renewable energy farms. What's going on there?
A crowd called Ace Power, ACE, is a German-backed renewable energy developer, and it wants to spend about $2.5 billion in the next 3 or 4 years buying up wind, solar and storage projects in Australia. It believes as coal plants shut down, there's plenty of opportunity if you own renewable energy in Australia. A few things going on here. Remember, last week, Energy Australia said it was bringing forward its closure of the Mount Piper coal-fired power station in Lithgow, west of Sydney. The Yallourn power station in Victoria's Latrobe Valley will also be closed earlier. Investors don't want to put their money into fossil fuel companies. You can see that because coal and oil prices are high, but the share price of the companies that get the stuff out of the ground aren't. Then you have Australia as a nation with plenty of land, plenty of sunshine, plenty of wind. That means plenty of opportunity to build renewable businesses. And the Europeans are best at it. When it comes to renewables, Europe has been doing it for decades. The rest of the world are only getting into it now. That's why I reckon you'll end up seeing plenty more European companies heading down under.
All right, story number 5, and it's a very exciting story for anyone who's ever had a panic when their phone battery gets to 5% and they're hunting around for a power cable.
It is. There's a push by the European Union to require the smartphone industry, Apple, Google, all the Android devices, to adopt a uniform charging cord. If you, like me, live in a household mixed with Apple and Android devices, this could be a new beginning, a lifesaver, or it could just cause more fights over whose charge is whose.
That's it. The top 5 business stories in 5 minutes. Thank you very much, Sean.
Thanks, Michael.
It's Monday, the 27th of September, 2021. Now, if 5 minutes isn't enough, then find our longer podcast called Fear and Greed on your podcast platform and join us online on LinkedIn, Twitter and Facebook. You can always find more info at fearandgreed.com.au. I'm Michael Thompson, and that was the Fear and Greed Business Headlines. Have a great day.